Hey everybody, I'm live just for a brief few minutes, unlike last night when I was live for an hour and 9 minutes, but I felt it necessary. I was going to come on earlier and talk about college football, but schedule demanded I do some other business related work, so it didn't happen. Um, However, I want to go back and I want to address uh, my post from last night and uh, scroll down and really uh, get after this person by the name of Brunell. Ivan Brunell. And Ivan Brunell uh, and received a testy reply from me. Um, he says, "Did you notice the article was written in July 2019? It's pre-pandemic, and the total 46 events, 16 of the," and he puts period, "are the Raiders and UNLV. That means they're looking to book 30 extra events every year. We're currently in the middle of a pandemic that people are not booking. Please learn what you're talking about before coming on here and making BS points like this." Now, this is an example of something that I dislike. A person basically just reads the headline. All he read was Raiders owner Mark Davis suffers as Resorts World gets AEG 46 events at Allegiant Stadium out. Okay. They're out. Yes, because of the pandemic, but there was, as I said before, look, here's the problem, all right? This person does not understand this project at all. Okay, they have zero idea what they're talking about. Let me go back to, first of all, the real document this person should be looking at if they knew what they were talking about. All right? If they really cared, as opposed to being what I call a mindless cheerleader about a project they don't fully don't understand at all. Okay? And told you this is going to be for night out, stadium finance for night owls. Okay? And what I'm showing you is the economic model that and the internal rate of return IRR that led to the $750 million subsidy that is a focus of this facility. All right. And what this person should have referred to if they really knew what they were talking about. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? He says, are we even going to have an NFL season? Looks like it. I'll get to that in a second. Why? But at any rate, this is what really grates on me. And let me show you as I go to this screen. And this is, to some of you, is going to be boring. But look, this is the heart of it. Stadium proposal, all right? Okay? And D-Dick says, screw Mark Davis. He's going to have Oakland jinx. He loses his team in 2 years. Could happen. How you doing, Dixon? One of the best architects out there. It's got a great baseball concept, but I digress. All right. Okay. Now, let me get back to the heart of the matter here. This presentation has what's called overview of the baseline model. I'll get right to the heart of the matter. Okay. Because, folks, it's important to understand this document if you want to understand the stadium financing that was designed for the Las Vegas Raiders Allegiant Stadium, or as we call it, Las Vegas Stadium. Okay. I'm zooming past these charts to get to the true analytical heart of it. This is the 46 events. This is where this came from. All right. Total stadium revenue, $264 million. That's for the stadium. That's not total. Okay. $264 million. All right. Total ticket revenue, facilities rent, $9 million. Facility fees, Ticketmaster fees, has it all broken down. They had to be scaled up. One thing that's held is the number of seats, but I digress. This is, so the stadium operator retains 11% of operating revenues. All right, fine. Okay. Now, operating cash flows, project sources and uses. This is the page, right? Page 20 of 32. This is the Bible, all right? This is the fiscal Bible that you should know if you want to intelligently talk about Las Vegas Stadium with anybody, all right? If you want to impress your girlfriend or significant other or your parents or your kids or whatever, or just want to talk intelligently, you have to start with this page. You have to start with this document in what's called the SNTIC Stadium Model Presentation Final PDF, okay? This doc, all right? Why? Because look, I presented this before, but it's worth going through again, okay? Look at what's highlighted in blue. Private investment in millions that was expected by the developers led by Sheldon Adelson, 650 million. The public contribution in millions, 750 million. Why? Because at that point, there was an expected internal rate of return of 8.78. I said 8.48 before. That's wrong. It's 8.78% over a 30-year period. Okay. All right. Now there was another presentation made where what they were looking at was here, and see if I can get that to highlight on its own. There, okay, right there. You see that? All right, where the public contribution was just 550 million, okay, but the private investment was greater, 850 million for the developer. So from the developer standpoint, the internal rate of return was low, and that is why Mark Bedane was instructed by Majestic and Mr. Adelson, and by agreement. I'm not saying Bedane has no business sense, quite the contrary. He's got an MBA from Berkeley, go Bears, and a fantastic business acumen. This is no slight on Mark Bedane at all. But this is the heart of the matter that caused the Raiders to come that close to walking away when it was proposed to have a lower subsidy of 550 million. All right. Okay. Now, how do you get there? All right. How do you get to a place where you can hope to have enough revenue, right? A private investment and a public contribution so that your rate of return in terms of revenue is 8.78%. You have to have, and it tells you right here in this document, all right? It says it's heavily dependent on the allocation of revenue, but then keep going through the document to stress testing and keep going all the way down to stress testing to the other point, all right? Where they say relative mix of private and public dollars materially affects the developer's return on investment, okay? And then this is the magic page, the second one. Page 20 was the first part of the Bible. Page 26 of 32 is a second. Stress testing the model. Adjusting the number of stadium events has a significant impact on the developer's return on investment, both up and down. Okay? Okay, so pay attention. Because, Ivan, I'm talking to you. All right? I'm talking to you. The article you're talking about, all right, wasn't the Bible. I was referring to that to give you a general idea that the public expected, the public that was at least paying attention halfway to this, expected 46 events, but the 46 events were needed to cause the stadium to pay for itself. It didn't matter whether there was a pandemic. They didn't say, oh, by the way, there's going to be a pandemic, and so we're going to forgive you for not getting events. That's not how this works. Okay? The pandemic accelerated the problem, yeah. But the point that I was making in the previous video from yesterday was that it was irresponsible to have a deal where AEG is incentivizing itself by making all these other deals around Las Vegas to take events from your facility, rather than having some sort of deal where they can go off and, go hunting for other girlfriends, if you will, but then come back home. All right. Right now, AEG is all over the place in Las Vegas. And because its coin is not entirely based on Las Vegas Stadium, it has lesser incentive to want to fulfill an objective of 46 events. I'm not saying it's not going to try to. I'm simply saying that by dint of the fact that it's spread out in terms of having different clients, Resorts World over here, the Plaza over there, and so on, because of that, there's less of an incentive to focus on just Las Vegas Stadium. What should have been is the Raiders should have set up a system whereby they have their own events company designed to produce their own events on a basis that helps the stadium pay for itself, and then partnered with an AEG or Sands or another organization. But the current deal relationship is not in the favor of Mark Davis and the Raiders. That's the point that I was making. But what you did, Ivan, is you just looked at the headline and just no. What you need to pay attention to, hey, Roland Dubs, how you doing? What you need to pay attention to, again, is this, okay? This is it. Get this document. Stress testing the model. Now, you hear what, folks? The person that I'm talking about or talking to, that person's not going to watch this. All right? They might see the headline a second time, and they won't even get this far. Their eyes look like, I don't want to do it. Okay? Jeez. Details. All right? Now, my point is here that stress testing the model, adjusting the number of stadium events, has a significant impact on the developer's return on investment, both up and down. So the question is, what happens when you have just 16 events? Remember, Ivan wrote that in his comment, okay? He comes back and says, they only said it was 16 events. So basically, Ivan, you're telling me that you're good with a 0 IRR, right? That's what you're saying. Okay. But then you have to come up with the other 30. Why, Ivan? Did you know why? No, you didn't. So that the stadium can achieve the financial goals and objectives set for it by the developers. The operators are the Raiders. Now, that's far above the basic level of revenue needed to operate the stadium. But the question is, in the middle of this pandemic, what is, that's right, the revenue reduction from reserves looking like? How long can the Raiders go without a significant number of events until maintaining the property becomes a financial albatross? That's the question. Okay. Don't tell me there's not a problem. You would be crazy to think there's not a problem. If the NFL is going to foot the bill, fantastic. I should hope so. It's not enough to guess. Well, they're going to get it from the TV money. Well, no. All right. This is a trouble situation, you see? And then you have other things happen you got to fix. Like, did you just happen to notice that the stadium, I don't know if you saw this or not, but it's worth noting that this sign I'm about to show you from the stadium is missing. It was taken down yesterday. In fact, it was taken down during the time that I was on. I thought something was strange was going on there, but I wasn't with it enough to just say, hey, what's going on with that sign, right? But did you happen to notice, okay, that this sign right here that I'm circling, okay, this one, if you tell that you can't tell that I'm circling from the outside. Let me try it this way, okay? This sign right here, yeah, this one, see that one? It's removed. Why? I'll tell you why. Look, it wasn't lit up. That's why. It's broken. So they go back and fix it. Okay. That's what's happening. So they, got to go back and take care of that thing. So, the lesson here is, folks, there's a lot to be said for understanding a project. It's fun. People have went through a lot of trouble, and I once again give Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval a heck of a lot of credit for putting this together, and I was honored to meet him. Hey, it's John Marks. How are you, John? And then he said, Marquette says 46 events a year is going to be tough. There's only 52 weeks. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's exactly the point that now MGM Resorts Chairman and CEO Bill Hornbuckle was making during the meetings of the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. My thought is, wait a minute, maybe, it's time to just tear up that entire model now and say, okay, you're not going to get 46 events. You're not looking at developer internal rate of return anymore. What are you really looking at? What's your real financial objective? Okay. How much do the Raiders need? Because when the buildings, when all this was done, when the buildings calculations were sized, this was done by Majestic and Sands on behalf of the Raiders. It wasn't, now it's a different picture. Majestic and Sands are out of the way. Okay, they're not involved directly. Well, they're not involved. The Raiders are Stadco. All right. They collect the money. So they collect the money. They would like to use a surplus for player needs, one would think. All right. And it says, thank you, Big Joe. Appreciate it. Hey, man, anytime anybody named Big Joe gives you a shout out, you got to just say right off. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. So the point that I'm making is that whole model has to be torn up. And the Raiders have to ask the magic question: how much do you need now and into the future so that you can declare the stadium a financial success? And how much do you need to get out of it if it's not there? Right now, they cannot say it's a financial success. I don't care the circumstances. It's not. That's why you have the payroll protection program to help you get, stay afloat. That's why the Trump administration should be quite literally forced to bring it back. But instead of doing that, what they're going to try to do is pit the nation against each other and not give people money they need and get them pissed off, which I think is awful. Awful to use money and politics and emotions and kick people when they're down is essentially what the administration is doing. All right. And then quibble over money at a time when you need to be liberal with it. Okay. I'll say this, folks, and I'll say it again. An economy is not a political thing so much as it is a mechanism. You want proof? Hey, you're short of money. You turn around to your buddy and you say, hey, you know what? I need $10. If you don't have $10, you can't put gas in your vehicle, right? You need gas in your vehicle to go a place, to get a job, to go from A to B. All right. That has nothing to do with being liberal or conservative. Right? But you need the money. So wouldn't you find it resentful if someone told you, well, the market will help you. I'm not going to give you my cash because it's just by the grace of God that you don't have it. And maybe you're just not worthy. Maybe your human capital isn't right. Maybe your color isn't the right way. I'm just not going to do it because it's survival of the fittest. There are people who think like that, and they think that they're cool and they're right wing and all this other jazz. So they use their own political ideas to disrupt the proper operation of the economy. You see what I'm getting at? Whereas, if they didn't care about making a political statement on your fiscal back, they would say, "Oh, no problem. Here's $10. Boom, got it." If they don't have the $10, then they don't. Then hey, it's a problem for both you and that person, and it means the overall economy is weak. Okay. Hey, Sean, how you doing? All right. It means the overall economy is weak. Okay. And that's where we're at. So, Ivan, when you visit the channel, know your stuff. Because if you don't, I'm going to call you out on it. Okay? And folks, get away from the Facebook mentality where you're just commenting on headlines. In fact, get away from Facebook. Have your own blogs. Make your own channels and publications. And talk and let people see your face rather than this incessant typing all the time. Your communication is different, it's better, and it's more rewarding when you and I talk virtual face-to-face. Okay? Janakala, how you doing, bro? All right. So, he says, who's Ivan? Oh, Ivan, I'll show you. Ivan is this fellow that wrote this comment on the channel that, obviously, pissed me off. Otherwise, I wouldn't have mentioned it. And what happened was that he goes off and he writes, here, did you notice that the article, and I'll show you the article he's talking about, was written in July 2019. This is pre-pandemic. In a total of 46 events, 16 of the, and then he goes, are the Raiders and UNLV. That means they are looking to book 30 extra events each year. Nah, no kidding, okay? We're currently in the middle of a pandemic that people are not booking. Please learn what you're talking about before coming on here and making BS posts like this. Now, the whole point is he didn't listen to the hour. He just saw this. He just saw the headline, okay? He just saw the title. He only reacted to the title and typed. A lot of people do that. It's a dumb mistake. So I was simply thinking, you know what? I'll base my show on this. Show Ivan Bronwell, as his name, is wrong. Okay? All right? Now, the other question is, what is he referring to as far as the 46 events? What he's referring to, you type 46 events, okay? Las Vegas Stadium, all right? What he's referring to is this one that I referred to the other day, okay? Yes, AEG sees no problem filling 46 events at Las Vegas Stadium, all right? And what he's talking about is where I had said, okay, this was July 18th of 2019. Now, I had said yesterday that it was July of this year. It wasn't, but it was last year. The whole point is it doesn't matter what year it was. This 46 event issue has been a thing, if you will, going all the way back to 2016 when the model that I showed you earlier was first presented, okay? All right? Okay? So, this, again, you go back to the real Bible, not the Review Journal, this one, that one, okay? This presentation, and as I said to you, page first 20 of 32, which has the internal rate of return, which Ivan didn't refer to, okay? Which is the heart of the thinking that drove the ask of $750 million for subsidy, all right? And this served as a basis for the spreadsheet model that I have today, and I've just built up and modified it as we went along. But this, okay, that's 20 of 32, given the anticipated level of stadium revenue, the relative mix of private and public dollars materially affects developers' rate return on investment, okay? And then it says it is also heavily dependent on the allocation of revenue. 1% shift to the stadium equals a 1% decrease in developers' return on investment. All right? A 1% shift. Okay? So basically what they're saying is that, all right, as ticket revenue increases, okay, a shift to the stadium. A shift to the stadium means that revenue for tickets, facilities, fees, all these go up. It means that it's an increase in the developer's return on investment. So what do we have now? We have the reverse. Why? We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in trouble. Okay, all this should drive the rationale for a bailout and should show you exactly and give you an idea of exactly the level of the problem and how big this problem is in general. Stress testing the model. Relative mix of private and public dollars materially affects developers' return on investment. Here's the point. How many times in this alone, how many times have I used the term return on investment? Why? It's written there. So what was their thinking? Return on investment. Are they going to get their return on investment? No. Okay. But the they has shifted from Las Vegas Sands / Majestic and Raiders to Raiders. The Raiders are going to need a partner soon. So for Ivan to just get upset, he doesn't even know what he's getting upset about, except that, oh, I'm talking. Oh, boo-hoo. If that upsets you, you know what? There are millions of therapists to call. I suggest you do so. Sorry, folks, but my God. The reason I respond that way is because this typing and writing and everything rather than talking impedes our ability to communicate effectively and understand, in my view. Juan Ramirez, how you doing? Dixon says, I just want Mark to lose the team. You dog Oakland, you get dog. Just watch Mark, not even billionaire. Jerry Jones and the boys just wanted a Vegas vacation location. Mark has been played. Deshaun, I'll tell you why I went. He says $900 million for freeway ramp. Who pays? Mark. Yeah, pretty much. You know why I hold to this comment? Marmir says Zinni reports nothing but facts. I try. But this comment that he's making, this is why I co-sign it, okay? Part of it. I co-signed the part where he says that Mark had been played. And it's because at the NFL sponsor, it wasn't even the NFL sponsor party, it was the Raiders sponsor party at CES of 2 years ago, actually last year, that I was invited to by my buddy who's a tech investor who was invited in turn by the Raiders. He could bring a +1, and the +1 he chose to bring was moi. Okay. You would say, what did I get out of that meeting? What did I get out of that? It was a lot of fun. In fact, come to think of it, talking about that sponsor party, Raiders sponsor Zinni 62. Okay. CES. I wonder if I still have that video. And was I hate these let's see here. Raiders sponsor Zinni 62. Sorry, folks. Didn't intend to have this. I know I got hold on a second. Raiders sponsor Zinni 62. Let me try this. You can get an idea, I think, of what the event was like. And let me try some. Here we go. Okay, this is it. I found it. As possible. All right, cool. Okay, this is. Let me now go here. Go here. And yeah, that's it. Ta-da! All right, this is the event, folks. This is where I was, and as you can tell, that's Mark Davis on the left. Howie Long in the middle, cool guy. Jerry Jones on the right as well. Okay. All cool guys. All right. I don't want anybody get any mistakes. Let me just play it for you. And let me enlarge the screen so it is the only thing that you see. Okay. I'm going to do that right now. Then go over here so you see that, and then just play it.
To say I'm excited to be here in Las Vegas, 1 year away from my Oakland Raiders, moving here to Las Vegas, becoming a Las Vegas Raiders, playing in the stadium.
Folks, with my buddy Bruce Bateman. I want to thank you very much for telling me about this event.
So today we got to see the Raiders launch and announce their involvement here in Las Vegas. Jerry Jones was here, Howie Long, and Mark Davis. So it was very cool to be able to see everybody and the cool things they're doing in a really high-tech new stadium.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Raiders are about, I would say, maybe 25% of the way, not 30% of the way, in building a stadium here in Las Vegas, relocating from Oakland. I don't want to get into the controversy there. I will say there are two different stories. There's the Oakland story and the controversy there, which to me is completely separate from the amazing business opportunity Las Vegas presents for this stadium. Now, there are, of course, a number of questions. I pointed out them all, and many more. I did learn something, however. I met Elliot McCabe, who is the representative for Bank of America on the stadium financing, and he basically said to me that they're deal agnostic. They go, the Raiders said, hey, we need your help. We go wherever the deal is with respect to the National Football League. And the financing, for those of you who asked, is in place, okay? So that's not a question. Because a number of you have asked me that, and, rightly so, because it wasn't, announced, but it is there. Jerry Jones gave an outstanding presentation, kind of a rollicking speech, what you should say, And
it was, it was an interesting conversation about fatherhood.
Yeah.
I mean, Howie Long's two sons playing, Mark Davis and his father, and Jerry Jones's father's inspiration, and there was a lot about family.
And about NFL economics and everything else.
Yeah, the economics.
And he talked about the great business opportunity. What was interesting, however, is there was no discussion about sports gambling. There was no question that was raised by the audience. I did not ask a question didn't want to. I was trying to just be in. I'm happy to be in the room, and I am supportive of the Raiders needing a new stadium. And you all know the rest. Okay, this is a great opportunity. Sports gambling is the wave of the future, but it was never raised. And that is what's going to double the franchise value of the Raiders and many other organizations. Okay,
but I also think the tourism of traveling teams.
Yeah.
I think would I travel to Kansas City for a game? Yeah. We're going to Vegas for a game? Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I get 2 for 1.
Exactly.
Right? But would I go to Kansas City? I don't know. Yeah. No disrespect to Kansas City.
He's got a good point.
It's not disrespect to Kansas City. Right. It's just I could go there for the game. It was like a playoff game. Yeah, I could go. But if it's just a regular season game.
Is it enough to offset the visitation declines? They've been enormous because some of the hotels look like ghost towns. And that's what concerns me. I don't think the Raiders are enough. I think you need more.
Yeah, but every weekend you can at least say, I'm going to be full. If you're a hotel here and you say, so let's say 3 days, all right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I leave on Monday, right? So 3 days is what? 3 out of 7? You're talking about 35, 40% increase?
That's true. No, he has a point there. He's got a great point.
Yeah, who cares?
And the other events. Let me put it this way. Well-financed and liquid, this is the perfect sports opportunity. Las Vegas Stadium, this is something that wasn't raised with these potential sponsors, will be the most photographed stadium of its kind in the world when it's finished. Mark my words. It's not going to be finished on time. I seriously doubt they play a full... Look, they're not going to play a full NFL season here in 2020. It's behind schedule, okay? But that doesn't mean it's a great opportunity. That doesn't mean it's fantastic. That doesn't mean it's great. This is something I said.
Is it good for the NFL?
Yeah,
I think so. I think
it's tremendously good for the NFL.
I think it's good for the NFL because it does bring new blood.
Yeah, it does.
Right? And it is someplace that almost everybody in America says, who's a football fan, if you look at the demographics, the football fan coming to Vegas, it's like a 1+1.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I will say this. I want to help create the Oakland Invaders so the Oakland Invaders can invade Las Vegas Stadium and kick the Raiders' ass. That's the idea, okay? Yeah, you create this like great rivalry that spans the ages. Shocks everybody.
Let's work for a section of old Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like a home, like a little section of old timers.
Yeah. See, it's like WWE style brought to the NFL. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, good on you, Bruce.
All right, bro.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, folks, that's Las Vegas Stadium under construction. It's got a long way to go. Now, the fact of the matter is, you take a good look at this.
So anyway, you know the rest, folks. But that is my buddy Bruce, CES tech guy, wonderful man. I mean, he's the one who brought me in, and so point that I'm making is I show that, and I pick up on again what Deshaun was saying about Mark being played, and then Big Joe says Nevada taxpayer got played too. Yes. And then Arcade says, do you think Jerry Jones will help Mark get events because Jerry needs his Legends money? And that's an excellent question. And they have AEG. Legends was the owner representative that got them the sponsors. But would they formally help behind the scenes? I'm certain. But right now in the middle of a pandemic, just how that looks is not good. Okay. Unless the president comes through with the bailout money he promised them. It's one thing to say that he wants sports, but you got to pay for it too. That was really awful presentation by the president. All right. This is Raiders deal 2.0. He says, do you think the NFL will be able to compete 2020 season? Compete or complete? It's going to be a rough go. They're going to make a stab at it. Let's see what happens. Dixon says, Jerry Jones is set up, man. They never wanted Mark Zinni. You know it. Tell the truth. Tell it. You're right. That's what I was getting at. I mean, look, what I was trying to get at is, I didn't say it completely. Let me go back and make the point with the video, that I was showing you, and come back to that because, Deshaun is right. And I'm going to put this up here and explain what I was going to initially say and just say it straight out, because I think Deshaun is right on in what he is saying. What he is saying, okay, Mark at this event, and you heard Bruce say it, was basically sitting back. Jerry was doing all the talking. There was a point where Mark seemed to get a little annoyed that Jerry was doing so much talking, because when Jerry gets rolling, he gets rolling, right? And he started saying, I was thinking to myself, no, Mark, man, just enjoy the ride because he's carrying you, man. Just enjoy it. It's for your benefit, okay? It's for your benefit. And he came close to slipping up and just kind of like, I got to talk about me rather than letting Jerry, who's the more experienced owner, do the, heavy lifting. And then he caught himself and he settled back. And I was really proud of Mark Davis when he did that. I thought, you know what? He's learning. He's got people out there who are able to carry the load for him, who have the muscle of experience to do so. That was true for Jerry Jones. Let him do it. And I love Jerry. I don't agree with everything Jerry does, but I love talking with him because if you're an entrepreneur, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Look at me, okay? If you're an entrepreneur, you should get to know Jerry Jones. You should study how he thinks about business. And Jerry is missing a gold mine opportunity to teach the public the Jerry Jones way of business. He probably laughed at me for saying this, but I say that. It's confidence in the middle of a hurricane. That's the best way to describe it, okay? Whereas he said at this event, you know what he said? And I thought was so cool. At this event, he said, he goes, you gotta act like you got $2 in your pocket. Here's the last $2 you have. And that's how you succeed. You got the rent due and you got $2 in your pocket. And, that is the way you have to think as an entrepreneur if you are going to succeed at anything. All right. You have to have that mentality. It's stressful, but the rewards are worth it. Okay. You have people counting on you, families. All right. That mentality is is not just stressful, but it's necessary. But the rewards are worth it, because when you get to those places you want to be, stress goes away. All right, you entrepreneur out here, you know what I'm talking about. Uh, so so, uh, but getting back to my main point, he's right. Okay, the owners got rich off this. Jerry saw an opportunity. You know, Jerry was working for two people through Legends, the Raiders and the Rams. Own representatives for both, finding SoFi for Inglewood and the Rams, and then finding Allegiant for the Raiders, right? And he's in the middle cleaning up, and he's able to pay that for that $250 million yacht he had down there in Florida for the Super Bowl. Beautiful thing. So, all right. So look, D is right. Absolutely right. COVID-19, Mark Davis. Hope not. Everything that could have gone wrong with building a stadium in unproven territory has come true. So far, yep. He says, plus they built it too fast. You know, I know flaws, man. Absolutely. So, you know, that's it, folks. And but I wanted to really come back and emphasize that this issue of 46 events and how they got there because of a concern about achieving a certain level of internal rate of return is what caused the level of ask for the $750 million subsidy. It's driving the need to have the 46 events, but now we're in the middle of a pandemic. More public money is needed to bail this project out. Sorry, it is. If you don't get it, and you say you're going to let market forces take over, that's going to equal collapse in a number of different places. I'm just saying, all right? You won't like where that goes. If you're a champion of the project, you're not going to like where that goes. I'm being blunt, honest with you. Talking economic mechanisms, not politics, okay? He says, no bailout, let nature take its course. Welcome to the spider web, Mark. Hopefully, I'm sorry. This is funny. Okay. I mean, I don't agree with the philosophy, but it's funny. It's kind of like, dude, let him twist. You know, that's what he's saying. It's like, I disagree, but it's funny. Okay. He says, no bailout. Let nature take its course. Welcome to the spider web, Mark. Hopefully the Raiders will have a new owner in a couple of years and I can become a fan again. That is hilarious. Oh, my Lord. Okay. Thanks, JF. John says, if Dallas does sell team or part of the team, do you think it would be to Adelson or not necessarily? I think Adelson should be considered number one on a short list. Okay. So Zinni, how did Jerry Jones get so much juice when it comes to the NFL? Seems like he's the number one owner as owners. Chutzpah. I mean, you know, okay, this is the difference. And I'm going to go back to this photograph, all right? You want to know the difference between this guy and that guy? I will tell you. All right, the guy on the extreme left, when I'm standing up there at the bar, this is at the Delfino Skyfall Lounge, okay? And when I'm standing there, the guy on the left, Mark, doesn't say hello. He walks by like, ugh, and he keeps going, okay? Keeps going. The guy on the extreme right stops, talks with me. I reminded him of when I said at the Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party in 2007, I said I had an idea for a Dallas Cowboys sim world. Make a long story short, he said, make sure that gets directly to me. And I didn't send it because I thought the presentation looked crappy. I was afraid he was going to reject it. So at this event, okay, at that event, he says to me, hell, how you know I wouldn't have liked it, okay? All right? And we had a conversation about that. And then we took a photograph together with some other dude, okay? Difference in people. Look, Mark has to let go of how he thinks, which is negative. People think about him. It's not that, all right? And understand that he has an objective to reach and that he can make friends with anybody to achieve his objective. Okay. And I think when Mark gets to that point, he'll sail. All right. And I believe this is good for him to go through this to get to that point. It's okay for somebody else to know things that he doesn't know. It's okay to have, that sort of thing. But Jerry, as I said before, and I'll say it again, he stands tall in a hurricane. He's like the kite in a hurricane, but the kite doesn't know that it's in a hurricane. It's just sort of doing its thing, right? That's Jerry Jones. But the kite under Jerry has its own directive. It can actually say, hey, I'm going to go here. Okay. So that's the difference. It's chutzpah. It's between the years. It's belief. It's this belief that, like Sammy Baugh once said, you got to believe that you're the best blankety blank in the room. That's Jerry Jones. You have to believe that your story is worth telling others. That's Jerry Jones. You have to believe that you have a direction that others want to go on you with. That's Jerry Jones. Okay? That's what gets it done. And what happens is that Jerry has been in one arena of life and another, and as he's gone up, he's upped his game. Okay? That's why I say he's a great lesson for entrepreneurs. So there. I hope that answers your question. All right. Dixon says, how I feel till Mark, I'm gone. Mark done. 2 years, watch. Could happen, All right, folks. I know I'm done for that tonight. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back. Thanks again. Okay, see ya. Thank you. Oh, Marquez says, no bailouts for NFL owners. We have many people that can't pay rent. My point is this. We need a $9.8 trillion bailout system for the economy as a whole. He says, have a good evening. Bring back the stash. No! Oh, man, this face has done a lot more for me than the other way. That's another story for another time. Good night, everybody. I'll see you. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, see you.